Hey guys, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I am so excited because it is summer. It is summer and that means more flipping all the time and I cannot wait. For this video, we have a massive project on our hands and thanks to Dixie Belle for sponsoring this video. I actually found this set on Facebook Marketplace for just $100. That's right, $100 for a Thomasville French Provincial full bedroom set. When I saw it on there for $175, at first I was like, I would be okay paying that because I know that these are great quality, but I had just gotten something else very similar for $100, and after it was on there for about 5 days, I went ahead and I said, will you take 100? And she immediately said yes. Neiman and I had to do a little bit of extra work for this one to get it out of their house, but all in all, it was totally worth it to get this set for $100. And I had it sold before we even picked up the set because I actually did 2 French Provincial nightstands that you can find the video for over on Dixie Belle's channel. If you guys didn't know, I put videos over there every Friday. So if Mondays and Thursdays aren't enough for you to have some furniture flipping teacher in your life, go over to Dixie Belle because we've got videos launching Fridays. We've actually coined it FFT Fridays over on Dixie Belle, so be sure to go check that out. I had sold these 2 French Provincial nightstands that were painted in this amazing color by Dixie Belle, Midnight Sky. And it's a very deep dark blue, and it's almost black, and then I had gold hardware, and I had so many people asking for it. I actually ended up selling those for a total of $350. I had gotten them for $35 and I flipped them for $350 for 2 nightstands. That is crazy. I had so many people that were reaching out about them, and this person actually ended up wanting an entire set. So when I saw this on Marketplace, I knew I had to go for it, and she was all in. I'm excited to get started on this piece. We're gonna go with a little bit of a two-tone look in a way. It's not complete two-tone, but you know, we'll get to the colors when we get to the colors. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and remove all these beautiful French Provincial handles. Okay, and of course, sometimes we find some surprises in there. I have no idea. Interesting. I am gonna have some separate containers just so I can keep straight which pieces go on which pieces of furniture. What in the world? They're probably like, what the heck? Where's our controller? This is like, what?
For sale, hit us up.
I'll definitely message her and see if she wants it. So I got a separate container for this dresser because again, I just don't want to mix anything up. This actually is much bigger hardware than the nightstands, so it's just going to be easier keeping it all in one spot. Got some good finds in these pieces for sure. You never know what you're gonna find. Dressers, nightstands, all the things. But I will say that PlayStation controller is definitely one of the most unique finds that I've found. But it's time to clean with some white lightning. And I went ahead and dumped some into my spray bottle, but it comes in these little grains and it just dissolves in there. So I can just reuse this over and over rather than pouring it into one bucket of water and that gets really dirty really fast. And that's just kind of wasting it when you could just spray it and then wipe it away. So we're gonna go ahead and spray down all of the pieces. So White Lightning is a TSP based cleaner, and so that's just gonna help get rid of all of your dirt and grime, oils and things like that that the paint will adhere to if you don't get that cleaned off. I wear gloves when I'm using this chemical cleaner just to kind of protect my skin. This has been sitting in storage for a few weeks now and then in our garage, so you know, it always picks up a little extra dust, especially when I'm also working on other pieces of furniture. We just need to get all of that off there. Like I said, this is gonna be a big project and we haven't even scratched the surface yet. I've got my double bucket and usually I put, again, the cleaner in this side, but this time I'm just gonna use this side to wipe it down and then we'll use this side to rinse. So these nightstands on the tops are in pretty rough shape. All of that varnish and top is coming off, and so we'll definitely need to give this a sand on the tops and kind of go all the way down to that bare wood. The rest of it I'm just gonna do a scuff sand on because it's pretty glossy and I really want that paint to adhere. And then once I take the drawers out later, I'll be cleaning the insides as well. Once you start flipping furniture, you kind of get into the groove and the flow of things and what works best for you. And I've kind of lately found that cleaning on the insides of the drawers is better and easier when I take them out, but I'm not quite ready to take them out of these yet. I also recommend that you clean before you sand. Just because if you sand when it's still dirty, you're gonna be rubbing all those oils and dirts into the wood, which is not a good thing to do. Okay, you guys, cleaning and hardware is all done. All right, I am gonna actually keep track of the time on this. Taking off the hardware and cleaning all took me an hour. That's a long time, but you know, this is a huge set. I'm gonna track my time just to see kind of what the hourly rate was because it is a commission piece, like I said, and I just am curious. I know that I charged a good amount, but could I have charged more? Probably. We'll just have to wait and see at the end to see just how long this actually takes me. Anyway, our next step is gonna be to scuff sand, and we're actually gonna be doing that tomorrow because the sun is about to go down and it's time to eat dinner. We're back on this beautiful day, you guys. The weather is shaping out. It was rainy for like days and days, basically weeks. But now we're good. We've got some nice weather, so it's time to get to sanding. And most of it just needs a scuff sand. Like I said, it's pretty glossy, but the tops of especially the nightstands have some finish breaking through and breaking off, and it's actually just gone in a lot of the places. So I'm gonna go ahead and strip the finish off the tops for sure, and then we'll just do a scuff sand on the rest of it. I'm gonna start with 120 grit, and I'm gonna be using my Surf Prep sander. Of course, I've got my dust mask. We're gonna just go at it. All right. Oh, 3 hours later, we're done sanding. So we're gonna call it a night and I'll get some paint on this guy, these guys tomorrow. All right, we're here, finally ready to get some paint on these guys. I'm gonna be using Midnight Sky by Dixie Belle, and I am excited because this color is like a deep, 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 deep blue, basically black. And so when I clean up that original hardware, it really is gonna pop against that black. I'm gonna go ahead and get the drawers out for easier painting. And then we're gonna get started. I'm just gonna do one nightstand at a time here. Oh my gosh. More stuff, more stuff. Okay, okay. So for painting with Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint, I usually am going to use some water to thin it out. So I grabbed this off of their website. It is a continuous mister, and it's a spray bottle that just sprays water onto your piece. I also like to spray it onto my brush and a little bit in my paint, and that just helps thin it out a little bit and grab the consistency that I want. So let's see how much I've got left here. All right. It's right here. So just at that line below. So we're gonna see, so this is a 32 ounce, so that's probably about 8 ounces, not even 8 ounces that I used. So we're gonna kind of just see how much this covers. I do have a backup 16 ounce just in case this isn't gonna cover all of it, but I think it will do a pretty good job. So let's get started. Got that first coat done on the 2 nightstands and the tall chest and all the drawers. So now we're moving on to the big dresser here. And this one is gonna actually be a completely different color altogether than those 3 other pieces. So it's gonna be a lighter color. That means that I'm gonna go ahead and prime with Dixie Belle's Boss. And I didn't prime with the darker color just because there really wasn't that many spots where I had broken through the finish and the stain. But with the lighter color, I just really want to prepare for possible bleed through, and I just need to put that Boss on. That's just like a mind ease, honestly. And that way I'm not gonna be wasting any of the paint, because if I painted it and then it bled through, then I have to prime, and then that just kind of wastes that whole coat of paint. So I would rather take that cautious step of priming real quick first and then painting once that's dry. So I need to go ahead and take all the drawers out. So remember, this Boss, it blocks odors, stains, and smells. So the purpose that I'm using it for is to block the stains from popping through. Any that bleed through, I want to completely avoid. I'm using white because that is the closest to my color of paint. And then I'm using the oval mini brush from Dixie Belle as well. So just like with any sort of paint or primer, you just want to really be careful to not have any of those drips, because when you have drips, you've got to sand a lot of extra, and it is a little bit tricky to not get those drips. So you just kind of want to go slow. Don't use too much paint or primer at a time, and just make sure that you're watching what you're doing. If you do end up getting those drips and it dries, then all you've really got to do is go back and kind of sand over that spot, and then that should help you get that drip to be nice and even. But you just got to make sure that you catch that before you put any paint over the top. Boss goes on pretty thick, so you just kind of want to smooth it out and thin it out as much as possible. I wouldn't really recommend putting water in this because that would kind of not let it do its job correctly. The Boss is all on the big dresser and all 9 drawers. So we're gonna let that dry, and in the meantime, I'm gonna get a coat number 2 on the nightstands and the chest. All right, we're finally ready for the second coat of black, but right before that, I am going to just do a slight sand over the top of that first coat, and that's just going to smooth everything out. When the paint dries, it's just a little bit rough, and before I do that second coat, I need to smooth it out. I've got a 320 grit, so I'm just gonna go ahead and smooth it out. We gotta sand down the primer just like we did on the first coat of the black, just to kind of smooth it out, and then we'll be ready. All right, I told you guys that we were doing two-tone, and it's just a completely different color than the other dressers. She wanted to go with Buttercream. So that is the paint that we're gonna put on this whole entire dresser here and the drawers. So this paint, like I say, is pretty thick, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put some water in there, and then of course I also spray my surface with the water. Just thins it out a little bit. You can choose if you want to add water to it, if you want to pour this into a separate container, or if you want to keep it in this one and then add the water. I know that I want my consistency to be a bit thinner, so that's why I just do it in the container itself. And then I'm going to be using that same oval mini brush that I used to apply the Boss. So we're definitely going to need a second coat. I'm obviously hoping that's all we'll need, but you know how ambitious I am with coats of paint, so we'll see. But there is really good coverage with this buttercream color, and that primer really helped coat that dark wood. So I think well, I know that helps, but I'm just hoping that it's enough to cover in just 2 coats, but we'll cross our fingers because the first coat's done. So we've got to let that dry, and we are gonna be done for the night, and we'll be back tomorrow for top coats and second coats and a little special addition that I'm gonna add onto the bottoms of these per the customer's request. All right, we're back out here and it is a sunny, bright day. Holy cow, I'm blinded by the brightness. But anyway, this coat is dry, so I'm gonna do a light sand with the 320 grit, and then we're gonna get on the second coat. Coat number 2 is finished up, and I'm just gonna keep my brush in here because I think there's gonna just be a few spots where I'm gonna need to do touch-ups, especially just on these details where my sander, when I was smoothing everything out, it kind of got a little bit down to the dark wood. So some of that's just popping out. So once this second coat dries, which should be in no time because the sun is shining, then I'll go back and do some touch-ups. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead back to the black 3 pieces, and we're gonna get a top coat on it. For the top coat, I am gonna be using Dixie Belle's clear coat in satin. So it's just gonna be a light shine, nothing crazy, not glossy, but kind of in between that matte finish and the gloss. So then I'm gonna go ahead and pour this into a separate container because I want to mix it with some of the color that I used to paint these dressers. And that will just kind of help me eliminate those streak marks that I may get if I didn't do that. And I am just gonna do a little bit in there. I can always add more. I have found that I would rather have to add more later than, you know, adding too much, and then that is tinted and that kind of wasteful. So I'm just gonna start out with a little bit and see where it takes me before I add some more. Then when you're adding the color, it's especially good with the darker colors. So when you're adding that, you don't need a ton, just a little bit will do. And then you go ahead and mix it in. And so the kind of whitish satin color turns to more of a gray. And then you just start. And then I'm gonna be using the Fan Mini here. And this is my favorite brush that I've found to apply the top coat. I used to do the foam brushes, but now I like doing the brushes instead. When you're doing the top coat, you just want to go as equal as possible. You want to go slow. You want to make sure that you're going in the same direction as much as possible. You know, you might need to go this way up here, but then kind of even it out by going down. And then you want to really be careful to not use too much in those places so that it will clump and things like that. Not a good look when it dries. Alrighty, officially, this drawer keeps falling over. Okay, I'm officially done with the top coat, and at least on the black. I am gonna go check out the cream color to see if that needs any touch-ups, but then we'll get going on that top coat. All right, the top coat is finished. So like I said, I've got one more surprise for you guys that she wanted to be added to the dresser just as a little accent to all of it. And then I've got to reattach that hardware. Still got to clean that up a little bit, but then other than that, we're just about done. So I ended up cleaning up the hardware, all 27 pieces of hardware. Oh my gosh, that was a lot, and my hands hurt. And I'm gonna be sharing how I cleaned up that hardware in another video coming probably sometime in June. But basically, I boiled it with vinegar and water. I used Barkeeper's Friend, and then I used some steel wool. All thanks to Jen over at Perfectly Imperfect. She's not on YouTube, but she is on Instagram, so be sure to go check her out. She's an amazing furniture artist, and that was one of the first times I tried her hardware soup recipe that she has coined, and it works wonders on the hardware. As you guys can see, the difference between the before and after on the hardware. I already put the hardware back on the midnight blue pieces, and so now I'm gonna just go ahead and install the ones on the longer dresser. And I'm actually getting to use my new drill from one of our supporters, Tom. This is the first time I'm using it. Thank you, Tom, again for getting me my own drill set. I no longer have to use my dad's anymore. I don't know who's more happy about that, me or him, but hey. Okay, hardware is all on there. There's just a few little spots that I nicked with the drawers, unfortunately, so I'm gonna go ahead and touch those spots up, and then we'll be ready. All right, so while those touch-ups dry, I needed to share with you guys a mistake that I made. I share the good side of furniture flipping, the bad side, and the achievements, and of course the mistakes. And that way I can learn from them as well as you guys can learn from them. Hopefully me sharing my mistakes with you will help you avoid the mistakes that I have made. This mistake is super silly. And what I did was I had this lady who wanted this French Provincial set, and she wanted one piece to be one color and 3 pieces to be the other color. And I knew that, and so I did it. And that's what I did. I did this one cream, and I did the other ones the midnight blue. Today, this morning, I was looking back at our messages, and I realized that I flopped the pieces that she wanted to be cream and midnight blue. So all in all, this piece was supposed to be midnight blue, and the other 3 pieces were supposed to be buttercream. So I actually got out of this one really luckily. I don't even have to explain to her anything, because I have another client who actually wanted a French Provincial set in the midnight blue color as well, but she only wanted the 2 nightstands and the tall dresser, not the longer dresser. Therefore, I have another very similar French Provincial set in our storage unit that is waiting to get painted for the other lady. And I know this story is confusing. Basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these 2 nightstands and this tall dresser that I just completed in this video and give it to her. And then this one I'm gonna be selling on Facebook Marketplace. I was gonna have a long one extra that I was going to do, and I didn't know what color I was gonna do it in, but apparently I'm gonna do it in buttercream. And then for my other client, I will go ahead and do the longer dresser, the midnight blue, and then the 2 nightstands and the taller dresser in the buttercream. So on the bright side, you guys get to see another French Provincial set, and that will be happening later in June as well. All that to say that mistakes happen. If they're not fixable, you know, if I didn't have this situation going, then I probably would have messaged her and said, is this okay? I flopped them. If not, I will totally fix that, which would have been, oh gosh, that would have been bad. But I got a little bit lucky with my mistake, and it ended up happening the right way. And so I'm gonna give these ones to my original client who wanted the 2 nightstands with the tall chest, and then I'm gonna be selling this one separately on Facebook Marketplace. The set is finished. I've got this chest, the 2 nightstands, and we are actually about to go and drop it off at the new owner's house. And I've got my little sample paint touch-up little kit here with the color Midnight Sky inside of there. That way if anything happens later on, like it gets nicked or dented or something like that and the paint chips off, that she can just go in and touch it up. This little paint goes a long way. I know it doesn't look like a lot. Let's talk about the numbers real quick. Remember, I got this entire 4-piece set for $100. So let's start with the chest and the 2 nightstands. We're gonna say that each piece was $25 just for easy numbers. So the 3 pieces total $75, and then I charged $700 for the set plus $50 delivery. So that is a pretty good profit if I do say so myself. Between the cost of the furniture and the cost of the paint, we're gonna call it around $15 because that's what a 16-ounce jar would be. All in all, that is going to be a total of $90 in. So we're getting $750 including delivery. So that is a total profit of $660 that I have earned from this set, that it's gonna go straight toward a down payment on a house. I absolutely love doing commission pieces, especially if you're working with the right people. And I can't tell you enough how important it is to put yourself out there. So let's go on to the cream dresser. That one we're gonna say I got for $25, and I currently have it listed at $450 over on Facebook Marketplace. No hits yet because I actually just got to list it yesterday since that whole mistake happened, you know. But I do have someone that's interested and gonna be coming in a couple of days to check it out. So cross our fingers for a full offer there, and could not be happier with how these pieces turned out. We've got some more French Provincial in the lineup for you guys coming mid-June, so be sure to get subscribed down below if you like this type of dressers and furniture. It's super fun and beautiful to create something with. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Dixie Belle for sponsoring this video. Be sure to head over to Dixie Belle because, like I said earlier, we have FFT Fridays over there every Friday where we release a video just like the ones on our channel over on their channel. So if you want an extra dose, be sure to head over there now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.